What happens when the place you once called home turns into a battleground for your heart? As the last echoes of laughter faded from the dinner table, Rachel's sister's words, "This is not your home anymore," sliced through the air, leaving a chill that settled deep in Rachel's bones. They were seated in the old family dining room, where memories of childhood birthdays mingled with the bittersweet taste of adulthood. Rachel, a 28-year-old artist, had poured her soul into renovating the house, transforming it from a crumbling relic into a canvas of her dreams. Yet, as her sister's betrayal crystallized in that moment, the weight of vulnerability pressed down on her, exposing insecurities she had long fought to hide. The setting, a faded Victorian house nestled in a small town in the Midwest, was as much a character in this unfolding drama as Rachel herself. With its peeling paint and creaky floors, the house whispered stories of love and loss, of laughter and tears. Autumn leaves danced outside the windows, painting the world in shades of gold and crimson, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing within. The cozy living room, once a sanctuary, now felt like a prison, its walls echoing the unresolved conflicts of family loyalty and personal ambition. In the wake of her sister's words, Rachel faced her greatest conflict yet, the battle for her home, both literally and metaphorically. How could she reclaim her sanctuary when it felt so irrevocably tainted by betrayal? The emotional turmoil surged through her as she grappled with the fear of losing not just a house, but a part of herself. Determined to wrestle the narrative back into her hands, she made a bold decision. She bought the house from under her sister's name the very next day. This act of defiance would set her on a path of self-discovery, challenging her beliefs about family, ownership, and her own worth. As Rachel navigated the complexities of her new reality, she found herself questioning everything she thought she knew about love and sacrifice. The journey ahead would be fraught with adversity, but it was also a chance for growth, for forming unexpected alliances, and for redefining what home truly meant. In her quest, she was not only fighting for a roof over her head, but also for her identity, her dreams, and the strength to rise again after betrayal. As I stood in the center of the dining room, the weight of my sister's words still hung in the air, suffocating me. I had thought that purchasing the house would reclaim my sense of belonging, but instead, it opened the floodgates to a myriad of new challenges. The first came in the form of local gossip. My decision to buy the house, especially from my sister, had not gone unnoticed in our small town. Whispers floated around like autumn leaves, each one laced with judgment. Friends I had known for years began to distance themselves from me, unsure of how to navigate the rift between my sister and me. Then there was my sister herself, who became a shadow lurking in every corner of my life. She had always been the more assertive one, the one who never hesitated to voice her opinions. Her anger was palpable, and I felt it like an icy wind every time our paths crossed. I was torn between guilt and anger. I had fought so hard to reclaim my identity, yet here she was, a constant reminder of the betrayal. I found myself questioning if I was doing the right thing. Was I truly fighting for myself, or merely acting out of spite? The emotional turmoil pushed me to seek solace outside the family. That's when I met Sam, a single mother and fellow artist who had moved to town to escape her own past. She was unlike anyone I'd ever met, fiercely independent, yet soft in her approach to life. Sam understood what it meant to rebuild from the ground up. Her own struggles with societal expectations and the stigma of being a single parent resonated deeply with me. She became an unexpected ally, encouraging me to channel my pain into my art. Yet her own internal battles, struggling to balance her dreams with her responsibilities, often reminded me of my own vulnerabilities. In the midst of navigating these challenges, I felt a mix of resistance and yearning. I resisted the urge to retreat into self-doubt, yet every setback echoed my insecurities. I found myself paralyzed in moments of indecision, wondering if I had the strength to move forward. But with every brushstroke on the canvas, I began to unearth layers of my own truth. I didn't just want to reclaim my home, I wanted to redefine it entirely. In the face of betrayal, I was learning that empowerment comes not just from possessions, but from the connections we choose to nurture and the courage to confront our fears. This journey was not just about reclaiming a physical space, it was about understanding my place within a tapestry of relationships fraught with complexity. I could feel the emotional tension building as I wrestled with my beliefs about loyalty, ownership, and what it meant to truly belong. Each day offered new lessons, whether I recognized them immediately or not. I was beginning to realize that my fight was not just against my sister, but against the limitations I had imposed on myself. And as I stood before my easel, I could feel the stirrings of resilience within me, preparing me for the battles yet to come. As I stood there, paintbrush in hand, I felt the weight of my choices pressing down on me more than ever. Just when I thought I had begun to carve out a new life, a fresh wave of challenges crashed over me. One late afternoon, Sam called me, her voice trembling. "I think I need to tell you something about my ex," she said, her words punctuated by silence that felt heavy with unspoken fears. It turned out that her past was more tangled than I had realized. Her ex was threatening to take their child away, weaponizing their history against her. I wanted to be her rock, to support her through this storm, but my own world felt like it was unraveling. The more I learned about Sam's struggles, the more I realized how fragile my own situation was. My sister's anger had escalated, and I found myself fielding her passive-aggressive texts daily. One evening, I received a call from a mutual friend who felt compelled to tell me that my sister had been spreading rumors about me, claiming I was trying to take advantage of our family's legacy. The betrayal felt like a knife twisting in my gut, and I struggled to keep my composure. The isolation was suffocating. The friends I had leaned on began to fade away, unsure of how to navigate this familial feud. I felt trapped in a cycle of hurt and resentment. The emotional turmoil was evident in my work. The canvases that once felt liberating now echoed my inner chaos. Each brushstroke became a battle between vulnerability and the fear of exposure. I experienced moments of paralysis, staring at blank walls, doubting whether I was any closer to reclaiming my identity or merely spiraling deeper into despair. I began to question my choices. Was I pursuing my dreams, or was I merely trying to escape my sister's shadow? In the midst of this turmoil, I noticed Sam beginning to withdraw. The weight of her own struggles was pulling her down, and I feared losing the connection we had forged. I wanted to reach out, to remind her of her strength, but my own insecurities held me back. Was I even capable of being a friend when I was barely keeping myself afloat? This was a tipping point for both of us, as we faced the reality that our friendship, once a source of empowerment, was now strained under the pressure of our individual battles. The turning point came unexpectedly when I attended a local art exhibit featuring women artists. It showcased stories of resilience and transformation, each piece a testament to overcoming adversity. I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me as I listened to the artists share their journeys. Their courage resonated deeply, reminding me that I had a choice: to either succumb to the weight of my struggles or to rise above them. In that moment of clarity, I realized I needed to confront the bitterness I held toward my sister and my own fears about failure. I reached out to her, a tentative step toward reconciliation, hoping to break the cycle of betrayal that had defined our relationship. Simultaneously, I invited Sam to the exhibit, believing it might reignite her passion and empower her to fight for her dreams. As I navigated this web of relationships, I began to understand that my journey was not just about the house, but about the connections I fostered and the courage to face my fears. I was on the brink of change, ready to reclaim not just my home, but my sense of self, determined to forge a path that honored both my past and my aspirations. As I stood in the gallery, surrounded by vibrant colors and powerful narratives, a profound realization washed over me. The art on the walls was more than just paint on canvas. It was a testament to resilience, to the fierce determination that burns within women who refuse to be defined by their pasts. My heart raced as I listened to one artist recount her journey from despair to empowerment, her voice steady and unwavering. It was as if each word resonated deep within my core, igniting a flicker of strength I had long thought extinguished. I felt a knot in my stomach loosen, and for the first time in months, I could breathe freely. Here, in this space filled with celebration and triumph, I recognized the power of vulnerability. It was not a weakness to be hidden away, but a bridge to connection and healing. I was reminded that my struggles didn't have to isolate me. They could serve as a foundation for empathy and understanding. With each brushstroke I observed, my thoughts drifted to Sam. I could sense her distance growing, our once vibrant friendship dimmed by the shadows of our individual battles. I could no longer stand by, paralyzed by my insecurities, while she fought her own storms. I wanted to tell her that she was not alone, that I too was grappling with my demons. But I needed to confront my own fears first. In that moment, surrounded by women who had fought and won their battles, I understood that confronting my sister was not just about reclaiming my narrative. It was about freeing myself from the chains of resentment that had held me captive. I felt a surge of courage, a determination to bridge the gap between us. I realized that my sister's actions, while hurtful, stemmed from her own fears and insecurities. Perhaps, if I could find the strength to forgive, I could also inspire Sam to reclaim her own power. The decision to reach out to my sister felt monumental, a step into the unknown. I could almost hear the whispers of doubt echo in my mind, but I pushed through, fueled by the stories of the artists who had found their voices against all odds. I texted her, heart racing. "Can we talk? I think we need to clear the air." Uh, Holding my breath, I hit send, feeling as if I had just leaped off a precipice, unsure of what awaited me below. The new possibilities unfurled before me like a canvas awaiting a masterpiece. I envisioned a future where I could stand tall, not just as an artist, but as a sister and a friend. I imagined Sam and I, side by side, fighting our battles together, no longer overshadowed by our pasts but empowered by them. Perhaps this was our moment to redefine our narratives, to forge a new path grounded in understanding and support. As I left the exhibit, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I was ready to confront not just my sister, but the fears that had stifled my creativity and my connection with Sam. I began to formulate a plan, not just to reconnect with my sister, but to reach out to Sam in ways that would uplift her spirit. I envisioned our conversations shifting from the weight of our struggles to the celebration of our strengths. This was the turning point, the moment I would either rise or fall. The anticipation of the conversations ahead filled me with a mix of dread and excitement. I knew that the path would not be easy, that I would have to face uncomfortable truths and deep-seated wounds. But as I walked home, I felt the flicker of hope transform into a flame. I was no longer a passive observer of my life. I was ready to reclaim my narrative, to step into the light that had always been just out of reach. The climax of this journey loomed on the horizon, and I was prepared to embrace whatever came next. As I stood outside my sister's apartment, my heart pounded in my chest like a drum signaling the start of a battle. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows that mirrored the weight of unresolved conflicts between us. I felt the coolness of the evening air against my skin, a stark contrast to the heat of the emotions swirling inside me. This was it, the moment I had been building toward, the confrontation that could either shatter our fragile connection or lay the foundation for something new. Taking a deep breath, I rang the doorbell, each chime echoing the fears I had carried for far too long. When she opened the door, I was taken aback by the weariness etched across her face. Sam looked different, drawn and tired, but there was a flicker of recognition in her eyes, as if she sensed the gravity of what was about to unfold. "Hey," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, as she stepped aside to let me in. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with unspoken words. I could feel the tension coiling around us, ready to snap at any moment. I hesitated, searching for the right words, but my throat felt tight. Memories of our childhood flooded back, laughter, secrets, and the unbreakable bond we once shared. I wanted to reach for that connection, to remind her of who we were before life's challenges pulled us apart. "Sam," I began, my voice trembling, "I know we've both been struggling, and I've been scared to talk about it, but I don't want to let this distance grow any further." I watched as her expression shifted, a mixture of anger and hurt flickering across her face, emotions I understood all too well. "You don't understand," she replied, her voice laced with pain. "You've moved on. You've found your voice, and I'm still lost." In that moment I felt the weight of her words. I had hidden behind my own insecurities while she fought her battles alone. But I realized that my presence could be a lifeline, a chance for us to acknowledge our pain together. "I'm not as far along as you think," I confessed, my heart racing. "I've struggled too. I just, I want us to be okay again. I want to fight these battles together." I could see the walls she had built around herself beginning to falter. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and for a moment we stood in silence, the air heavy with everything left unsaid. I took a step closer, risking it all. "We're stronger together, Sam," We can't let our pasts define us. I want to help you find your strength again. As if the floodgates had opened, she finally spoke, her voice breaking. I thought I had to do it alone. I didn't want to be a burden. The admission hung in the air, and I could feel the tension dissipating, replaced by a raw vulnerability that had been missing for so long. I reached out, taking her hand in mine, a gesture of solidarity. You're never a burden. We've always been there for each other. The tears flowed freely now, and I felt the weight of our shared struggles lift as we embraced. The tension between us transformed into something powerful, an acknowledgement of our scars and the realization that our individual battles could forge a stronger bond. In that moment, I understood that this was more than just about me or Sam. It was about reclaiming our narrative as sisters, as allies in a world that often sought to divide us. We were not just victims of our pasts. We were survivors, ready to rise together. As we pulled apart, I felt a warmth spreading through me, a newfound sense of purpose igniting my spirit. The stories I had heard earlier in the gallery resonated within me, and I realized that our journey together had only just begun. We could face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that love and vulnerability held the power to heal. Walking away from that apartment, I felt lighter, liberated from the chains of resentment that had bound me. The future stretched out before me, full of possibilities, and I knew that I would never again shy away from confronting the challenges life presented. In embracing my sister, I had found strength not only for myself but for us both, a testament to the power of connection, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of sisterhood. As I walked away from Sam's apartment, the weight of our moment lingered in the air, but for the first time in what felt like forever, I could breathe freely. The confrontation had unraveled years of tension, and in its wake, I felt a profound sense of clarity. I had taken a step toward healing, not just for myself, but for my sister and our relationship. The emotional toll of our past had been heavy, but in that embrace, we had forged a new understanding, a pact of solidarity against the struggles that lay ahead. Reflecting on my journey, I recognized that I had often shied away from conflict, fearing the fallout of vulnerability. But now I understood that true strength lay in facing these challenges head-on. In the aftermath of our conversation, I found myself reaching out more, attending local support groups, sharing my story, and even encouraging others to confront their own battles. It was as if the act of reconnecting with Sam ignited a fire within me, empowering me to extend that same compassion to those around me. My relationship with Sam began to shift in tangible ways. We became each other's sounding boards, sharing our fears and triumphs, and slowly rebuilding the bond that had been frayed by distance and misunderstanding. I noticed positive changes in her too. She started to embrace her creativity again, picking up her paintbrushes and allowing her emotions to flow onto the canvas. It was a beautiful sight, and I was grateful to witness her transformation firsthand. Yet, with every step forward, I was reminded of the fragility of our connection. Our past still loomed, a shadow that could resurface at any moment. There were days when old wounds ached, and the fear of slipping back into silence threatened to suffocate us. Still, I held on to the lessons we had learned that day. Vulnerability could be a bridge rather than a barrier, and together we could navigate the uncertainties of life. As I stood on the precipice of a new chapter, I felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. I had learned to embrace the discomfort, to welcome the unknown with open arms. Life would undoubtedly continue to present its challenges, but now I was equipped with the understanding that I didn't have to face them alone. In our journey of rediscovery, I recognized the beauty of ambiguity. The future was uncertain. Would we continue to grow together, or would old wounds pull us apart again? It was a question that hung in the air, echoing the complexities of life and relationships. But perhaps that was the essence of our story, the acceptance of uncertainty, the willingness to embrace both the light and the shadows, and the understanding that even amidst the chaos, we had each other. As I turned the corner, I glanced back at the familiar apartment building, a symbol of our shared history. The road ahead may have been unclear, but one thing was certain. I was ready to embrace whatever came next, hand in hand with my sister, navigating the beautiful chaos of life together. How did this journey touch your heart? Have you ever faced a moment that forced you to confront the past? Leave your comment below to share your reflections. If you found value in this message, don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who might need to hear it today. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to continue following more stories like this. Your participation makes this space truly special.